Oh, cool.
It does not give me any chance to give you a heads up. It is just immediate.
Well, we out here.
We out here.
We out here indeed. We out live, as they say. It's episode 223 of The Platformers, a show about games and nerd culture. I'm your host, Brian Barnett.
I'm Joshua Mobley.
I'm Chris Shriver.
And I'm Vengeance.
Oh.
This week, we are going to be talking about the recently released... what was it? Is it exclusively in theaters?
Yes.
That
yes.
dumb thing that I hate that they say, exclusively in theaters.
Well, they have to.
Yeah.
You know how many people?
Like...
Yeah. How many people came up to me when I told them go see the Batman, and they were like, "Oh, is it streaming? Is it on HBO Max?" No, Patrick, it's not. Stop it.
Because HBO Max is awesome.
HBO Max is awesome, and it'll be on there.
Most used streaming service in the last 3 months.
Yeah.
I feel like Hulu is definitely mine for sure. Because we've been watching Children's Hospital and a bunch of stuff like that.
I do use a lot of Hulu, but I've been on a movie kick a lot lately, and this HBO Max, man, they have some great freaking movies on there.
They have a lot of movies on there.
And a lot.
Yeah.
It's not only quantity, it's quality.
Yep.
Nice. Well, we're not here to talk about HBO Max this time. We're here to talk about Matt Reeves, the Batman.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So this is going to be
a movie
a movie that we all saw in the theaters. I saw it at a drive-in theater. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about our impressions of the movie, our kind of general spoiler-free overview, as is our want. And then we'll give you a big warning, and then we're going to go through and spoil the ever-loving crap out of the movie and talk about all the things that we really think, once we've got all the fake fans out.
Here's something you'll really like.
Yeah, so that's what we got going on. And so if you're here for game chatter or to hear me wax philosophical about a bunch of things that I'm playing right now, like a very old ring that I'm concerning myself with locating, this is not the episode for you, my friends. But come back next week and we'll have more. This week is just about the Batman. So, Chris, you are watching Stream Chat, as always?
I'm not. I actually just realized I'm not, because this is a different setup. And I was just about to actually log into the stream and make sure it all looked and sounded okay.
Okay. Because I do want to, I'm sure we're going to get, from people who have seen the Batman, I'm sure that we're going to get, people talking about stuff. So I want to make sure that we're getting all of that. But, Josh, what did you think of Matt Reeves' The Batman?
Okay, let me clarify what I'm about to say first before we get started. There's two things. A, I liked the movie. I enjoyed it.
Good start.
People are going to be like, this guy fucking hated the movie, because I'm going to launch into a bunch of stuff. But I liked the movie. Robert Pattinson was really good. Why am I forgetting? Zoe Kravitz was also really good. Did not know that was what's his name, who played the Penguin.
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell was great.
There was a part when we looked. We were watching the credits at the end of the movie, and it was just flashing the names of the people who were in the movie, and Colin Farrell came up, and Austin was like, "Oh well, if there's a post-credit sequence, I think we know who's gonna be the secret person that they're revealing." And I'm like, "No, he's the Penguin." She's like, "No, he's not." I'm like, "Yes, he is.
He is."
In fact, he famously, there have been news articles written about this, but he went out in his makeup and went to I think a barbershop or someplace,
Starbucks,
and saw somebody he knew, and they didn't recognize him at all, because why would you? Because he's unrecognizable.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I liked the movie. It was good.
When is that 3-letter word coming in?
But I've seen this before.
Yeah, there it is.
This was the way I felt. I was like, I didn't feel like this was anything like incredibly groundbreaking or special. It felt like another Batman thing that I've seen before. Now, it's a good Batman thing. It does a lot of things right. Does a few things kind of like weird that I would have, if I was like working on this, I'd have been like, you don't really need to do this. Uh,
Does a few
which
things
we'll get
weird.
into the spoiler
Raves.
part.
Raves, John.
Yeah, could have done a few things different. Not plot. Well, I guess plot wise, but I don't know. We'll get into that stuff later. But
Yeah.
I liked the movie a lot. But I just overall am like so tired of. I'm just really tired of comic stuff right now, and it all sort of feels the same. And not that like this would be like a Marvel movie, because it doesn't feel like a Marvel movie. It feels
No.
like a dark Batman movie. But that's just it. It feels like a dark Batman movie, right? Like it's like I've seen these, like we did these with the Nolans, we're doing it again. A lot of the comics are like this. It just kind of was like, okay, cool. Like that was sort of my thing. But I will say it was nice being in a theater for the first time in like 2 years, but being in a theater that was only my friends. So when something funny happened, we could yell out stupid shit and no one would get mad because it was just your friends. And you could laugh at things that were like not really supposed to be funny, but like were kind of funny. Like there's that part with the, we won't spoil the actual moment, but there's that part with the bomb robot that's like going into the place that the thing's happening. Our friend group, we're all like huge Star Wars people, and sometimes we like just yell out the like the mouse droids. They always do that like sound or whatever. We all find that really funny. So randomly, it was super quiet, and I just went like like super loud when the bomb robot was like slowly pulling up. It was just dumb stuff like that, but it was good, and I had a good time watching it. But I didn't feel like it was something where I was immediately like, man, I gotta tell everybody about this, and I gotta like this changes everything. It was just like that was all right, cool. It was a little too long, is my one thing. It's a little long. Like it doesn't need to be this long, but
I
that's
didn't
me.
really feel the length of it. Like I felt like it worked for me as far as the length was concerned.
I would say I felt it in the last half hour.
Yeah,
I was kind of like, all right, we could wrap this up.
I mean, I felt it, but it was mostly because I had drank a lot and I really needed to pee.
I mean, that helps. Oh, I just went to the bathroom. I like there was a moment in it where it like slowed down tremendously for some scene. I'm like, this is my perfect moment, and I just got up and went to the bathroom.
Yeah, I did not, but it was partially because I was at a drive-in and I would have had to use the porta potties, and I'm not really interested in doing that.
That's a little different. I was in an actual movie theater, so I was like, oh, I
Porta
just get up
potties
and go
after
outside.
dark outside, like
Bad combination.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's risky.
But
even in the daylight, they're not.
Dubious at the best of times.
Dubious at the best time. You have to go in there like super careful.
Yeah.
Very careful.
Chris, what'd you think of the Batman?
I thought it was incredible.
I thought all the lighting.
I appreciate the red lighting.
I thought when we walked out of it, Jess and I both looked at each other, and I mean the infamous tweet that I got like 1,000 DMs about. When I walked out, I thought this movie was better than The Dark Knight. Having stepped away from it, or having been away from it for 2 weeks now, week and a half since it came out,
something like that. Yeah,
I think I like this movie more, but I think I like it more because it's new. Like, I have watched The Dark Knight probably 50 times, like, at least. And that's not an exaggeration. And it's a 2.5-hour movie. So, like,
I think I've seen it 3 times,
yeah,
maybe
like,
ever.
There was
when
life. That movie came out, that was all I watched for like a good 6 months. I was obsessed with it.
So you were a film bro.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I absolutely was. I was 2008. I was in high school. I was the Joker for Halloween. Like, it just hit me right at the right moment to be like, this is my jam.
Our boy Chris gets into things.
Yeah, I definitely get into things.
We love him for it.
Yeah. That being said, this is the first Batman movie for me where it felt like you really got the detective side of him.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I think that's one of the biggest strengths of this movie.
Yeah.
Is that it shows us a very complete Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. And honestly, when we were walking out of it, we both said, or no, I looked at Jess and I was like, man, I can't believe they actually like made a rated R Batman movie. And Jess looked at me, it was like, this wasn't rated R, which is insane to me because of some of the stuff that happens in it and like the way that
it's not like that gory.
It's not even that.
Like, there's some.
Yeah,
it's not that it's gory. It's just like that. It's just unsettling. Like the number of people that have been like, yeah, like it's intense and it's that.
It's like,
go ahead.
There's some horror stuff in there. There's some like, it's pretty violent, and then just Zoe Kravitz is in her underwear at one part, but that's about it. That's like pretty standard PG-13, I think.
I think it's more like I think it's more psychologically violent.
Yeah.
Than viscerally violent. Like it's not gory, but there are a lot of really messed up things that happen in it.
It's like when we watched
Audrey actually looked away from the screen at one point and was like, "Tell me when this is not happening."
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, okay. Which is like that's never happened in a Batman movie ever.
No, absolutely not.
I was just gonna say, Brian, that reminds me of when we watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's not not an ounce of blood in that entire movie, but it is intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's an experience.
It's the first Batman movie though where I've walked out of it and gone like, don't take your kids to see this. Like anybody under the age of 10 like shouldn't watch this movie because they probably aren't.
Dude, I don't think it. Yeah, no.
Josh may disagree.
I would have when I was 10, but
10 I would have been fine.
You might be right about that, but yeah, I think I think if I'd have been like 10 or 11, I probably would have been okay.
I would.
If I was like 7, no way. It probably would have freaked me the fuck out.
Yeah, my brother had some friends that like their kids are like 6 and 7, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go see Batman." He's like, "You probably shouldn't. They're gonna be messed up if you do." But no, I mean,
it's not your dad's Batman.
Yeah.
Wait till it's on streaming or something when you can like, nope out for no money, right?
Yeah.
Like then put it in front of them, and if it's a little too intense, like you can back out. You can watch something else.
Yeah. Not only everything I've said up until this point, I think there are some story beats in it that, again, having stepped away from it a bit, I kind of wish they took more risks with some of the choices they made. Even if they haven't confirmed whether or not this is or isn't going to be like a trilogy. They've talked about if we make another one, which they probably will.
Haven't they already said they're making another one?
They haven't.
They said they're making a show,
which is getting like It was supposed to be GCPD, and like about Gordon, but now they're revamping it.
It's going to be about Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, that was it. But I imagine they're going to revisit it, which part of me kind of wishes they didn't. Like I like this idea of having DC movies that are standalone in their own right, and it's like you have the Joker film, you have the Batman film, you have the whatever film, and like you make this story that is self-contained, you really lean into it. And you just say, all right, that's it, we're done. You move on. Like they can put out a Batman movie every 5 to 10 years and it be a different person, and I would be completely fine with that. I think
they can James Bond.
Would the market hold up though if it was like literally this and like the Nolan stuff just like over and over again? I don't think it would. I think people would get so burnt out.
But that's what I mean. It doesn't have to be this tone, or it doesn't have to be this way. Like,
sure,
no, you can have I think that people would definitely, when it comes to Batman and Spider-Man, I think it's sustainable.
Yeah,
I think people would go and see it like regardless because these are characters that are interesting.
Yeah.
And did you see who was it that was talking about this? I forget who it was, but I saw somebody talking about it. It might have been Nolan or somebody else that they were talking to, but they said that Batman whoever it was, they said that Batman benefits more than most
This was Nolan.
From having different perspectives and different takes on the character.
Yeah.
Which I agree with. Like Adam West Batman and Nolan Batman and the Joel Schumacher Batman, like those are all really different. And they are all like good in different ways.
Yeah.
Like I will go to bat for Batman Forever and Batman and Robin as really fun, campy movies.
You didn't intend that, but that was great.
Hey.
I'm writing that down. I will go to bat.
Yeah. But you know, those movies are really good and fun and campy. Adam West's Batman is like really just fun and lighthearted, you know?
It's the product of a generation.
Yeah,
You know.
and now we've got the Nolan Batman movies, which were more grounded than those previous ones, like the your Val Kilmer, your George Clooney Batman movies. The Nolan ones were more grounded, but still fairly fanciful. This is definitely the most grounded. Like there's maybe one thing that happens in this that is like a little bit fantastical, but it's basically just a piece of technology that I think is just like really advanced and they don't really explain it. But everything else in this is like, this could happen.
I don't remember what you're talking about.
Well, I'll mention it later. Remind me after this.
I know what it is, but yeah.
I don't know that I remember, but
it's a key piece of tech that's used several times.
Yeah.
But
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah. So other than that one thing, like everything in this movie could happen, like plausibly. Like this is definitely the most grounded Batman thing I think I've ever seen, and that exists.
Yeah.
And I think it deserves a lot of credit for that, honestly, because I don't know, it seems very thoughtful. It seems very not necessarily contemplative, because I feel like it kind of overplays its hand in some ways. Like I feel like this movie thinks that it's the thinking man's Batman, but it's not actually that. Like it doesn't reach that really. And I think that the same is also true of it early on dialogue wise and throughout the movie music wise. I found it like very repetitive, and like not in a way that like did anything for me.
Didn't like all the wah and things.
I found it. I think if you're gonna make a stinger that repeats throughout your movie, make it more than 2 notes. Like it just didn't do it for me. And then I felt like the dialogue was pretty weak early in the movie. It got better. But other than that, like I really enjoyed it. Like I can definitely see myself revisiting this. And I think that this movie, more than, and I know that there was a lot of question about this before the movie came out, but I feel like this villain, the central villain of this film, I would put up against any of the villains that we've ever had in any of these movies. I think that this, and
he's more modern and believable.
We'll definitely get into this later, because I really want to draw some comparisons between this and some other Batman stuff that it seems to draw very heavily from, but I've not heard them say it. But this Riddler, I would put up there with like Ledger's Joker, as being very, very iconic. In
terms of a performance, also very much so.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm talking about.
I forget that dude's name, but
Paul Dano.
Paul Dano.
Yeah, he's great.
He is great in it, and I've seen him in man. Maybe the only other thing I've seen him in is Little Miss Sunshine, and he's great in that.
Yeah, but he's very young there.
Yeah,
he's extremely young. Yeah, but I feel like he plays that pretty well, and that's also a great movie. But this is like I feel like I just kind of never understood this guy as like a great actor, but watching this, I'm like, damn, dude, this guy.
He's
can
been in a lot
act.
of small, like he plays opposite of Daniel Radcliffe in Swiss Army Man, if you've ever seen
Okay.
that.
I haven't seen that.
I haven't, but it's like one of the thing that I've wanted to watch. For
not that it's like a, oh my God, the Academy Award winner goes to, but like he is fun to watch in that movie. It's just a silly movie, but now he has a couple serious roles, but even like if you listen to him in interviews, and the way that he carries himself, he's a very like composed, soft-spoken, like he
Very
seems
reserved.
like reserved, but like thoughtful, like intellectual is like kind
he's
of the
like
vibe
Adam
that he
Driver.
puts off.
I don't know if you've ever heard
yeah,
Adam
it
Driver
is.
in an interview. He's like kind of quiet and stuff, and he's like very like eloquent with all his words and stuff. And then you see him and stuff in like The Last Duel, and he's like this villainous man just screaming at the top
Yeah.
of his lungs, and you're like, Jesus Christ, this dude could just like turn it on, man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Paul Dano's the same way.
Last Duel's good though, by the way.
I've heard it's good. I've heard it's good. I can't look at pictures of Ben Affleck from that movie though. I can't take it.
He's
it
good in
looks
it
so
though.
weird.
He does look a little weird, but he's good in it. Actually, everybody in that movie is really good in it. I didn't expect much, but I enjoyed it.
Noise.
Yeah. But yeah, I generally I think this is I didn't even like kind of give my summation of my thoughts about this, but apart from all of that stuff, like with the more believable action, I think the really compelling kind of villain and like I think this is also like the most tense, like the most tension that I've experienced in a Batman movie.
It's
is,
since The Dark Knight, I mean, it's definitely the most that I've ever had. Like, and again, it's that slow burn consistently throughout, where like the entire time I was watching, and I felt like I was just like,
oh my God,
like eyes wide, like, oh my God, what is about to happen next? Like, I was very, very invested the whole way through. I feel like I'm in the minority in that though, because a lot of people are saying that they thought it was too long.
I think it's too long.
I think just as it started to dip, it like any time that I felt myself like starting to teeter off, it really did start to ramp right back up. Or we were given like, a piece of candy, like another thing to to be into. I thought the pacing was pretty good throughout.
I'm trying to think of a time when it lulled for me, and I don't like I can see somebody criticizing the pacing for being like a little uneven, but it definitely never lost me, which is interesting because there are definitely times where like we've watched movies for this show and I'll be like, yeah, like you definitely could have cut 30 minutes out of this movie. Like
I think you could have cut a good 30-minute chunk out of this movie, but that's for later.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about that's spoilers. Did we have how's the chat looking, Chris?
Mumjum says, Josh, you're talking about the Batman. You need to make the room darker, which is what inspired me to make the lights red.
You won't be able to see me.
Well, I guess I kind of like unintentionally did that, and then Chris definitely did that on purpose.
This lamp, this one ceiling lamp, like, is just really bright, and if I shut it off, I will be like in the dark, basically.
Yeah.
Which
I'm definitely gonna get some lighting hooked up in here because watching Justin's setup last week, I was like, this is no good, man. I look like garbage over here. I gotta up my game.
Yeah. I definitely need to get a dimmer switch in here. We have them around the house, but in here there's not one, and I kind of want one.
I'm gonna un-Batman it. I think my neighbors are on their deck, and they probably think I'm a serial killer, so I'm just gonna.
Hey, just tell them you're developing.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say you're developing photos.
Yeah. Right. Woo!
I'm developing the photos that I took while I was stalking you in the woods the other day.
Yeah.
You ever seen 1 hour photo? I'm doing that. Time to call the police.
Time to call the police.
A movie in which Robin Williams says the words Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Reportedly a fan of it.
So he was a fan of a lot of cool stuff.
Dark.
He named his daughter Zelda after the Legend of Zelda.
That's cool. My favorite Nintendo commercial that they've ever made.
Oh, yeah,
that was
on the couch.
When they're on the couch and he's got like the big beard and he's talking about like, I love that game as much as I love you. I think it's like the sweetest thing ever.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's cute.
Yeah.
Also, it's great like watching her on social media be like, yeah, my dad was the best, and like here's a bunch of cool little factoids.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. But yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about this spoiler free. I really want to kind of dig in.
No, I mean the only thing I'll say is like if you have any, if who doesn't like Batman, if you have any inclination to see this, or if you're afraid to go to the theaters, I think it's like mid-April. This will be on HBO Max, so you can see it.
Or
then.
you could do what I did, which is go to a drive-in.
If you have one.
Check and see if you've got. We've got 2 drive-in movie theaters near where I'm at, and I just found out yesterday. I learned that $30 per car drive-in movie theater that I went to for this and Spider-Man No Way Home, the rival drive-in movie theater is like 30 minutes away instead of 10, but they charge $8 per person.
Yeah, but with gas now, man.
Yeah, that's very true. Actually,
I mean, but
that would be a non-issue like 6 months ago.
I drive a hybrid. It's fine.
The gas station down the street from me is legit $6 a gallon.
Holy shit, that's insane.
We are buying bikes this week.
Wow.
Because F that.
Wow.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. Go to a drive-in movie theater and see this movie.
Or rent a whole theater, like I did.
Yeah, AMC. What is it? $250 to go to an AMC and rent a theater?
Yeah, and it's like as many people as you can fit in there, basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It was something like that. We did it at Century, and it was like, it was something along those lines, and there was like 12 of us, I think. So
yeah, if you have enough people to fill it, or you have enough friends, do it.
Yeah, you don't need to fill it. You just need to get enough people to
justify the
have
cost.
A good time. Yeah.
I definitely don't have enough friends that could that would do that probably. But yeah, that's. I wanted to say where I thought it. I definitely feel like this is better than most of the other Batman movies.
Yeah.
Like I think that like I still probably prefer The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight. I don't know. This is like around the level of Dark Knight Rises for me.
No, it's not.
Which is like
The Dark Knight Rises. The Dark Knight Rises is a terrible film.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
It's a terrible film.
Depending on what day it is, I like The Dark Knight Rises more than The Dark Knight.
I will literally sign off of this podcast right now. The Dark Knight Rises is not a good movie.
I saw it once, so I don't really have
agree, disagree, my friend.
When's the last time you've watched that movie?
In theaters.
A few months ago. When we watch those movies, we watch Batman Begins, and I'm like, this movie's okay. Then we watch The Dark Knight, and I'm like, this movie is perfect. And then we watch The Dark Knight Rises, and I'm like, this movie might be even more perfect.
Oh my god! All right,
it's not, but
it's so good, dude. It's so good.
I haven't really thought about it since watching it, so I don't know if it's I don't know. I don't rewatch like superhero stuff, so I don't. I'm not someone who's like, the new one's coming out, gotta watch like 30 years of cinema. I'm like, no, just watch it.
No, I mean, I don't do that, but occasionally Audrey and I will get a bug and we'll be like, hey, let's watch the Daniel Craig James Bond movies. Hey, let's watch the Nolan Batman trilogy. Hey, let's watch the MCU movies or something like that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Which that takes a while, but yeah, it's we just like doing it. And I think all those movies are good, but I think they generally, it's for me. And here I'm gonna speak Chris's language. To me, The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises is an Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3 situation.
No,
they're both really good.
No, it's not.
They're both really good.
It's not.
This is not a podcast about The Dark Knight Rises, but we're gonna have a conversation about this.
I feel like we just did.
No, I'm not gonna bog this down with getting really into the nitty gritty of why I feel this way.
Yeah.
Or asking why Chris feels that way, because we're here to talk about Matt Reeves' The Batman, a 2-hour and 56-minute PG-13 movie.
Yeah.
That feels like a rated R slasher.
Yeah.
I don't think about ratings anymore at all. because
You don't
once
have
you hit
to.
18, who fucking cares?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Do I want to see the thing? Cool. All right,
Yeah,
I'll go
I
see
just
it.
put it on. I don't think about what rating it is. I mean, if I had kids, it'd be different.
That's what I was gonna
but
say.
I don't.
Once you have kids is when it matters.
Yeah, like when you're watching Turning Red and all that sort of stuff. You got to think about those things.
Another movie
Yeah.
that I do not think is good.
Oh yeah, I liked it.
Of course you did.
I've heard
Of
nothing
course
but
you
good
did,
things.
Brian. Of course you liked it.
No, I've heard nothing but good things. You're the first
good.
person I've heard that didn't like it.
It wasn't
There's
that.
a bunch of people on Twitter that don't like it for very specific reasons.
It wasn't that I hated it. It was that it ended, and like Jess, like the whole time, Jess and I just kept going, "This is a weird movie." And then when it ended, we looked at each other. I was like, "I don't know if I liked that."
Yeah.
Isn't it about
I watched
periods?
it like the day after Encanto.
Encanto's
so
a great movie.
I watched Encanto for the first time, and then I watched Turning Red for the first time. But anyway, this is about the Batman, so let's talk about the Batman. If you want to dip out before seeing the movie and you don't want to be spoiled, now is the time. And we'll see you next time. And thank you for watching and listening. Now it is time to move over into spoilers. So we're gonna lift the veil of spoilers.
Owl, if you will.
And
I can't believe you didn't use my favorite phrase. My favorite Brian Barnett
We're gonna
phrase.
wait, hold on. We're gonna go ahead and part the spoiler kimono.
There it is.
Spoiler kimono.
And we're gonna talk about that in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Man, this movie is real good.
This movie's real good.
And the Riddler is
Good.
so fucking weird, bro.
Really? Because he seemed like the most down-to-earth Batman villain I've ever seen.
What do you mean?
This incarnation of the Riddler feels like this would be the Batman villain of the modern day. Like,
okay, so
I'm QAnon obsessed. Like,
oh yeah, in that way.
You know, like what's the word I'm looking for? Just like
incel?
Just a terrorist, basically, who's on the dark net with a bunch of other people that dress the same, and
he's got the anarchist cookbook pulled up.
Yeah,
he's gonna make some stuff in that. So the piece of tech that I was talking about earlier, the thing that is like too advanced. What did you guys think I was talking about? Yeah,
is it the contact lens?
Yeah,
it's the recording and audio recording contact lens.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think everything.
I was willing to look past that because I'm like, that seems feasible to me. Like, that seems like something I'd see on Reddit one morning where it's like, scientists have found out how to do this, you know?
That seems like the type of thing that would exist today for like spies that we don't know about.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, and this could like exist. This could theoretically exist.
Yeah.
Like, this is something that could exist. I just don't know if the technology is small enough to be able to do it yet.
Yeah.
But like the Batmobile is like a real, like, I was actually talking to Audrey about that, and I was and the one thing that I was thinking of is like the Batmobile is a great encapsulation of why this movie is more grounded than the Nolan movies. Is that the Batmobile in the Nolan movies make a feint towards being realistic and grounded, but they're not actually.
Yeah. Because
it's like, hey, what if we had a giant tank car that could also jump? Because we just decided, we were gonna make a bridge, and then we didn't, and it can jump. It's very cool. And this one is like, yo, what if a souped up muscle car? And that's it. Like, it's got like a fucking jet engine on the back of it, but that's it, and that's something you can do with a car. Like, people have done that and gone out to the salt flats and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just a really tough car, and I actually like that. I think it's cool.
Yeah, I think
a lot like everything else, like, it felt sort of just like bolted together.
Yeah.
Because this is supposed to essentially be like Batman Year 2.
Yeah.
Not Batman Year 1, which is a very famous book, but Batman Year 2 is like he's still a little green. His stuff's like not quite as good as it could be, but it's still pretty, advanced. So the idea that he doesn't have a car that turns into a submarine or a plane on, command makes a lot of sense. It's like, I got this car, I put a friggin' jet engine on the back, and like it could probably take some bullets, but it's a car, That makes a lot of sense to me. So I was also a fan of just the weird kind of dirt, and everything else in this movie. Even like Wayne Manor is dirty as hell and gross. And so it's like the car's got to be dirty too. It can't be sleek, and where, because this entire world, like, it's the moments when you see things that are like clean and what's the word, like just like rich looking, like very nice, is the moments where it feels out of place, not in a bad way, but like the funeral scene.
It feels like it's to a purpose.
Yeah, like the funeral scene when they're in the church, everything's very nice and everyone's like all, in their suits and stuff. That felt like very out of place, but I feel like that's intentional, because the rest of the movie is this dirty, grimy. Even the clubs they go to are like really dirty and grimy, and there's people doing drugs and stuff. But
I think
they have that one line where near the end where they're Riddler's like doesn't, he's like, I don't even need to reveal your identity because this is you, like the person standing in front of me right now, which is, I think, why the church scene works pretty well.
Yeah,
because it feels like you're not, like, he's out of place, like he's not in his own skin, right? So it's interesting. I found all that interesting.
I feel like the moments,
clearly still acting like Batman, even though he's like, you can see he's not standing up straight, like he's kind of like slouching and like paying attention to people and like looking across the way. He's like clearly still in detective mode, even though he's not wearing the suit. And like so much so that like the guy who's like kind of ragged in like the line next to him kind of confides in him before realizing, like, wait a second, I recognize you. Like he like doesn't stand out as being like some rich guy, which I think is one of the things that this movie does the best, which is like, this is not Playboy billionaire Bruce Wayne.
He's a billionaire, but he's like a hermit.
He's like below the trust fund Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
He's orphan Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he still really feels it, which is like a core point of this movie. And like a place where like they draw a lot of similarities between him and the Riddler and some other characters, particularly that little boy who keeps showing up in the various scenes.
Who I'm sure they were like, if we make more, this will be Robin.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be cool. Yeah.
I'm sure that's what the intention was. That was immediately the minute that he's in the room and they show him look at the kid, I'm like, that's Robin. Like that was my first thought, which is how like autopilot, like Batman I am. Yeah. I'm just like, that's gonna be Robin. It's like, I've seen enough of these comic book origin story movies to know that they're gonna sprinkle in these things for people, right? So.
I kind of thought that, but then I was like, I don't know. I feel like with Catwoman at the very end being like, yeah, I'm going north, might go to Bloodhaven or something like that. I'm like, oh, okay, because like that's where Nightwing ends up and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, you're like putting this in a little early. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Robin wasn't that young, if he ended up being like a few years. If it was like, I don't know if this is actually true, because I guess what's his face in The Dark Knight Rises is like a lot younger than Bruce.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Yeah. He was in his like 20s, I think, when that movie came out.
And
right?
how old was Christian Bale?
His
Probably
40s.
his 40s.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but like I do think that that's pretty interesting, and I do like how they draw that, and even with the club scene, and then like later when they go to Carmine's kind of like hideaway, like it's not super nice, like it's not super clean, but it's like put together. Like I feel like they really do use that sort of visual language to like tell you something about the different characters and the different locations and stuff like that. Like when you go to any place that the Riddler has been or that Batman has been, like they're really kind of a mess. And then you go to like, this is Carmine's place. This is, something like that. And it's like, everything's got its spot. Like it might be a little run down, but like everything's very purposeful and ordered. And I thought that was like interesting, the way that they were doing that.
There was a good set designer somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, and it felt like a place. One thing I will say that we kept laughing about was Man, whoever it was that was the architect for all of these buildings, like really loves floor to ceiling windows on all the walls,
Yeah.
such that you can really easily spy on somebody or shoot them through a window or something like that. I thought that was pretty wild.
I like big windows. Gotta let the light in,
Yeah.
It's true.
What did you guys think of the design of Wayne Manor specifically? Like that Castlevania look to it. We've never seen
Which is cool.
Like we've never seen that kind of look in, at least in a live action Wayne Manor.
Mm-hmm. It always just looks like a mansion.
Yeah, it's like very gothic looking in this.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, I don't remember seeing the outside.
Well, no, it's
remember
just the interior of it. Like all of the woodworking
Yeah.
and everything is, I don't even know if it's wood or stone, whatever it's supposed to be. It's like very, very intricate.
It reminded me of that scene in the Lord of the Rings when Gandalf goes back to the tower and he's like looking for information on the ring, and he's just sitting in these dusty rooms with like a bunch of really old papers in it. Like that's just kind of the vibe that I get from like there's bookshelves everywhere. There's it's just a bunch of old paper.
Yeah.
This was the first like investigative journalist Batman. Finally,
Mumchum's asking Wayne Manor or Wayne Tower.
Wayne Tower was when he went, but like when he drives his motorcycle back into the basement and then goes into the Batcave. That's Wayne Tower.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about when he's like sitting at the kitchen table with Alfred.
Yeah, I wasn't 100% clear if that was the same place or not. Like if Wayne, if he lived above the Batcave in the tower or something.
I figured he did. That's usually where he.
Actually, no,
that
because
happens,
then
right?
didn't they say like they made some comment about like somebody who lives in a mansion on the outskirts of town or like something like that?
That's usually where Wayne Tower is.
Yeah, talking about him though. God, I can't believe I don't remember that because I just watched it last night.
You got me questioning myself now.
I don't know. It's been a week and a half since I've seen the movie, so I don't know.
But I feel like,
but the interior was cool.
Yeah, the interior is very cool.
When he went home, he like rode across a bridge or something, like off of like it was like if Gotham City was like Manhattan, he was like going across a bridge to like some other
metropolis
landmass or something like that.
Wayne Manor was run down and full of drug addicts. Oh. No, that's the orphanage. That's when he goes to the orphanage later, which I also thought I thought it was a very cool scene though.
That was really, really cool. Yeah. Another similar beat to The Dark Knight Rises, where it's like, yo, there's a bunch of orphans and where you been, dude?
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting. And now that we're like into spoilers, I wanted to talk about there are a lot of similarities between this and the Telltale Batman game.
Jess said that too, and I didn't even pick up on it until she did.
I was thinking about it all the time.
Yeah.
Because of the way that the Riddler is, which, by the way, these are my two favorite depictions of the Riddler. Up until now, that was definitely my Riddler, was the one from Telltale Batman. I feel like he is such an interesting character, and he does a lot of the similar stuff. Like, he's kind of like a Zodiac killer crossed with like Jigsaw. Like that's kind of his deal.
Yeah.
And that is also what the Riddler was like in the Telltale Batman game. And they also, another similarity between this and the Telltale Batman game, I guess spoilers for the Telltale Batman game also, there's a lot of stuff about Falcone in that and about the Waynes being crooked and about Alfred knowing about it.
Yeah.
Which is like, there's a great scene that like I posted on Twitter, like when I played through the game, where Batman goes to Crime Alley and Alfred finds him there, and this is after he finds out that like his parents were crooked or something like that, and he's like, I never thought, that this sort of thing could be true of them, and he's like, and Alfred tells him straight up like, you don't amass that kind of wealth without compromising on your morals.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't do it. And I was like, damn, like that's a very powerful line that stuck with me throughout this whole thing.
That's why I'm so poor.
Yeah. Because you're a good boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I feel like this pulls a lot of influence from that. I mean, I don't know if they did, but a lot of the stuff that I see in that, the prominence of the Riddler, the kind of Jigsaw serial killer sort of machinations, and then like the line of like the Waynes being linked to the mob, and stuff like that, I thought was really, really good. I liked it. And I feel like those are grounding elements. And when we were in it, I guess Audrey never watched me play that game, because she was just like, oh man, like she was surprised by everything. But I could also tell that she had not seen any of the trailers for this, because she like we were in the club scene when Selena is talking to Peter Sarsgaard's character, the DA, and she's like, oh, he's acting really shifty. I bet this guy's the Riddler. And I'm like, it's not, because it's Paul Dano. but I didn't say that because I was just like, oh, this must be great, like wandering around like not knowing who he is.
Yeah.
Just because you didn't see who the actors were, and then that, we were talking about earlier, the Colin Farrell reveal, which is like wonderful. That's like getting to the end of Tropic Thunder and not realizing that guy was Tom Cruise. It's like, man, I envy you, like living in that world where you don't know this.
Yeah, where you're that just, you have no idea that that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, oh, okay, never mind. My brother texted me because he hasn't, this is off topic, he hasn't seen Spider-Man yet, and it comes out on digital tomorrow. And he was,
oh yes, I'm so excited.
Yeah, he was like,
Audrey will finally be able to see it.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, he was like, oh my god, it comes out tomorrow. Like, and I've been avoiding spoilers, and I was like, do you know what happens? He's like, I know one thing that happens, and I was like, oh, okay. There's like a big thing in that movie, but I'm not gonna say it because Joshy boy. But anyway,
yeah,
we can move on. It's fine.
Also, this is not a No Way Home spoiler cast.
No, it is not. We already did that with Adam Bankhurst. You can go back and listen to it.
Oh man, so good. But yeah, I feel like Zoe Kravitz did a really good job. I feel like she was like definitely one of the highlights of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, coming back and being Catwoman for a second time. What up, Lego Batman? I think
Wait, Catwoman in that?
Hell yeah, she is.
That's dope.
Right?
That's funny.
Cool.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
I think she's probably the best live action one we've gotten.
We haven't gotten many.
It's kind of like being the tallest midget.
Michelle Pfeiffer, Halle Berry,
Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
I really like Anne Hathaway, man.
Well, gee, I wonder why.
You wonder why?
I like Anne Hathaway in Les Miserables. I like Anne Hathaway in The Princess Diaries. I don't like her in The Dark Knight Rises because that's a bad movie. Which is why you like her in that movie.
No, I don't. I mean, I have a long-standing thing about Anne Hathaway.
Yeah,
that's fine.
It's pretty serious.
It's extremely serious.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I thought Zoe Kravitz did an excellent job.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there's one thing that I will say about Anne Hathaway's performance is that she kind of seems really friendly from the get. Like she kind of goes along with it. Like I don't know. Like her relationship isn't as combative as Zoe Kravitz's is with Robert Pattinson, which I liked, because there's a point where she's willing to go along with him because it suits what she wants, and the second that it doesn't, then she's like, all right, I'm out. And I really like that. The thing that I like most about Catwoman is that her relationship with Batman is unpredictable, and I think that makes it really interesting.
Yeah,
like you can, which I guess is another thing that happens in the Telltale Batman game. Like she can just straight up abandon you in the middle of a fight because she thinks you're gonna lose, and she's like, who cares?
Yeah,
like, I'm leaving. I'm not gonna die for this. And I like that. I think Batman's supporting cast is like famously good, and that's why like you have such an opportunity to like explore the space and make it about kind of the other characters. And even when like your Batman isn't that good, like the movie can just be about the other characters and they can carry it.
But I think this movie doesn't do that. I think this movie probably focuses more on Batman himself and probably a little less on Bruce Wayne than some of the other movies. Like we really only get a few scenes with Bruce Wayne, though I think they're important.
Yeah.
But like this doesn't they were always holding Riddler at a distance. You know what I mean? Like he is like the
to good effect.
Yeah, I think it was the smart move. You know, whether it's like through a phone or like a video or whatever. You really don't see like him full bodied on screen much at all.
And you don't see his face till the end.
Yeah. Which is like such a funny reveal if you don't know what Paul Dano looks like. He's just like this like squirrely little, you know, nerdy looking guy. But I think I think this movie, like, to great effect, like, really, if by somehow this was your first exposure to anything Batman, I think this movie does do it.
Like mind blowing.
Yeah, like, this is insane. This guy's so cool. Like, I think it does do a good job at that, though. Like, without leaning too heavily into, you know, the Waynes getting murdered and them clutching their pearls. It's like, okay.
Oh my God. I was so proud of this movie for
not having
no flashbacks.
Yeah. Yeah, I was very grateful that was not there.
There was a very clear moment where I was like, okay, here we go. Here's the moment with the falling pearls. And they didn't do it, and I'm like, you know what? I salute you.
Yeah.
I salute you, Mr. Reeves.
They didn't do it. It's because it's like practically
it's like a birthright at this point.
It's like built into our mythology at this point.
Yeah.
But you don't the great thing about it is that, I mean, and by the great thing about it, I mean the stupid thing about it is that you don't need it. Like, just hearing in conversation that and I thought that they did a really, I remember when it was, they were like, yes, and this, you know, this latest tragedy happens on the same week where 20 years ago, Thomas and Martha Wayne were gunned down. And that's all you need to know. You need somebody to tell you that they were murdered and like maybe have a little bit of intrigue around that. And that's it. And then that ends up becoming, you know, that ends up coming back and being like really important to like what's happening in this movie. This movie is basically about the murder of Thomas and Martha Wayne and all the stuff that's connected to that, which is awesome. Like, I really love the way that they tie it in and make it a personal story for Bruce. Although I will say that scene in the hospital didn't land 100% for me.
You know what? That scene isn't really earned. Like, Alfred's not in the movie enough for that scene to matter much, unless
he should have died, to be honest.
And that was gonna be the next thing I was gonna say, was that like I think it would have had more of an emotional impact if he had died and we gone, oh shit, they could make more of these movies and Alfred isn't going to be there. Like,
it would have been something different.
Yeah, like they teetered on this line with a lot of moments like that, and they didn't, you know, fully commit.
And it adds like actual personal stakes.
Yeah.
To the story, not that like, oh, the corruption of my parents is a bad thing, or like because the whole thing stems from like, yeah, they did some bad shit, but ultimately it was their like charity bank account thing that got taken over by a bunch of people and was basically being spent on other shit. It wasn't being spent where it was supposed to be. Like, that's not necessarily like his fault, right? So that doesn't really like. It's
the Arkham thing.
They kept saying like, "Oh, it's your legacy," right? And I'm like, okay, I get that, but like, killing Alfred actually does add more personal stakes to it, because then your whole like, I'm vengeance shit actually gets to come back, right? Because he keeps saying it, because, you know, he's Batman, and it's just a cool line that we have to have Batman say. So I don't know. It's like they didn't want to go far enough to do something quite different enough, and it's the way I felt about it. But I'm like, I actually think killing Alfred would have been the right choice.
Yeah. To
actually make the story actively better.
And I was glad that they kept the characters they killed to a minimum, because we're going to get follow-ups, and I really hate it when like writers kind of like destroy the world they're in. They just have like it seems like in a lot of these movies, there's like a slash and burn mentality that I really just don't like, particularly in like the Marvel movies, when there are like major characters that exist for all time and become players for these huge
for
things.
A movie.
And then they just kill them at the end of the movie. And it's just like, you could have had them, like, you didn't have to. Most of the Marvel villains don't need to die at the end of their movie.
Yeah.
And some of them, it's actually kind of tragic that they do, like with Killmonger and stuff like that, which, like, I get that, like, in that movie, that's kind of the point, is that the tragedy of this and the just the absolute waste of this. But even with stuff like Thanos,
go ahead.
you know, but like one thing I really liked is that they don't kill the Penguin in this. They don't kill the Riddler in this. Like, which means that they could come into play, because the Penguin is in this movie, but he's a really minor character.
I liked that he was.
I loved his use. Yeah, I love the way they used him, though. I thought it was really, really smart.
And that's why you don't destroy your world as you move through it, because if you a great thing about the new Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, although I feel mixed on him as Spider-Man, they don't kill Vulture. He still exists. They don't kill Scorpion. He still exists. So at the end, you'll have these little asides of being like, you know, you can now have him. You can have Vulture in the Morbius trailer and be like, Michael, you and I should hook up about something. You know what I mean? Like, you can have these moments where, like, they don't kill Venom. So, like, you can have these different characters interact in different ways that don't have to be super huge. Like, if they killed Penguin in this movie, then you wouldn't have, like, this mob element that you could use in later movies. And I really like that they did that.
This comes to a core issue that I have. It is just that I'm so fucking tired after, like, more than a decade of every one of these movies having to just, like, go to the next one. Like, no one wants to just tell a complete story that begins and then fucking ends. Like, everything has to, like, bleed into the next thing so that it bleeds into the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing, and then we just go on ad infinitum until we fucking die. And I'm just like, I'm like, I just want you, like, I would have been so happy if they had said, like, this is it. We made this movie. You're not getting any more. Like, we just told a cool Batman story. I probably would have liked it more, but the fact that while I'm watching it, I already see the gears where I'm like, this kid's probably gonna be Robin. There's the Joker thing at the end. There's the, like, after credits with the website, and you go to the website, and it, you know, they're like decoded it already, and it already kind of teases there's more stuff coming, and it's just like, God, man, please, for the love of God, like, can we just pump the brakes on all of this, because it's just getting so exhausting.
You did get one.
It's feeling like the battle pass of
cinema
now. What? Yeah, because it feels like a job to keep up with all this shit. And I don't want to keep up. I just want to, like, have a good time. You know what I mean?
I just want to have a good time, man. Write that down. But I definitely sympathize with that. And I do think that it's totally fine. And Chris, you were saying we did get one. I think you were alluding to the Joker.
Exactly.
Or Joker. Yeah, that's a standalone thing. It doesn't lead into anything. It's totally fine. And I love that we get those. Like, I don't necessarily need a DC cinematic universe or anything like that, or even the Marvel cinematic universe. I'd be fine with them doing just standalone stuff, you know. But I also, knowing that people are like, hey, let's explore this idea in more ways than we could in, like, one movie. Like, I'm fine with these little miniature, like, give me a duology, give me a trilogy if you want to. But we don't have to. We could do standalones. We could do one.
Yeah, I think we don't need 1,000 Marvel Cinematic Universes. Like, the MCU alone is already exhausting enough to have to keep up with. Between, like, the movies were, like, a lot already. Now we're getting X number of movies a year, and we're getting Disney Plus series.
Shows.
And, like, it's getting out of hand in that bubble. And that's why I'm saying I think it would behoove DC to just, even if you're going to do a trilogy, like, just stick with that, or just stick with your standalone stories. I don't need this much nerd homework to keep up with every year.
I agree. It becomes a lot.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just don't want to do the work, you know?
And the work is to watch a movie.
I want to be able to watch other stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, do other things. Like, I don't want to have to be, like, just stuck in this. It's like this never-ending hype loop where, like, everything is, I always have to be hyped for the next thing, and then I just forget. about the thing that I just got,
Yep.
It's like I'm on this train that never fucking stops, and I don't want to be on the train anymore. I want to get off.
I mean,
but I feel like
yeah.
I personally like would have just stopped after Endgame because I feel like we did it. We told the whole
and I think some
saga,
people did.
right? We did it. I would say probably most people did.
Yeah.
Like I bet a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people in our like bubble are still plugged in, but I bet a lot of people are just like,
it's our job to do it. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I bet there's a lot of people out there that are like don't even have like Disney Plus, and then when a new movie comes out, they're gonna just make all these freaking references, and they're gonna be like, wait a minute, what? Like they're not gonna be able to follow any of it, and it becomes too much. And
I think it would be good to serialize or like just turn these into like anthology, where like maybe the next movie we get isn't directly connected, but it's like we get the same actors, we get them back there doing like a different story, and it's as self-contained as this one is, because this movie doesn't really like, it moves the needle a bit, but it doesn't like, this movie could, if they were never making another Batman movie, like there's not really anything that's like, well, this is like, we stopped Halo after Halo 2. It doesn't make any sense anymore. Like, there's nothing like that in this movie.
You could
like,
stop now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the ending scene with like Joker and all that stuff would be like a little less. It'd be like, it's kind of weird that this is here, but like,
it's just like saying like he's just chilling in the asylum.
Yeah. He's just there because we already know he exists because of the thugs in the beginning. Which, by the way, the touch of having the one dude who's the rookie only have half the face of makeup, I thought that was a good touch.
I thought that was really, really cool, and to have him be like, the other guys are like, yeah, we're gonna beat this guy up and take him for what he's worth, and this guy's like,
yeah, he's like, not quite sure.
I am bummed. Like a lot of the big moments that happened in this movie, I think, were revealed in the trailer. Unfortunately, like.
I only saw the first trailer, so
let me tell you guys. Ever since what was the movie? Was it Star Wars: The Force Awakens or Last Jedi? When I'm just like, I don't watch trailers anymore.
Yeah, it was one of them. I remember
that was the best decision I have ever made, because I went into this and I hadn't seen.
Well,
anything.
yeah. The other thing too is that like in our line of work, people have to dissect every frame, and they're like looking for it, and they're always wrong. Always wrong. And then it's a big problem where like people build up like what they expect. They're like, this is what's going to happen. I saw this thing happen in the trailers. It's the only thing that could happen. And then when it's like something completely different, they just think, oh, well then it's shit. And it's like, well, no, you
told yourself it was going to be one thing.
You told yourself it was going to be something completely different.
Yeah.
You told yourself it was going to be chocolate milk and you were given iced tea. It's not that iced tea's bad. You just expected something that no one offered.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it does.
You're expecting to pick up and drink a Sprite, and it was water.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I also, Brian, I'm with you. I notoriously hate trailers. And if you're going to make a trailer, I want it to be as vague and as short as possible.
Yeah.
I mean,
have it be a tone piece. Have it give me an idea of the atmosphere of the movie, and then get out.
I mean, the trailers
describe. Go ahead.
The trailers for this movie do achieve that.
Sure.
And there's really only one or two of them. That big major trailers that they had put out, maybe three, because of the push that they did. But I think, like, I wish they had kept the penguin chase a secret. I think that was like the most exciting moment for me, and it was like,
see, I didn't even know Penguin was in the movie.
That's insane.
I only saw the one trailer. I don't pay attention to this stuff. To be honest, if my friends had not gone, I would not have gone to see the movie.
Wow.
I would have waited. And even then, I may not have watched it at all.
Yeah.
But I went because we were all going, and I watched it, and yeah. I told you, I'm like really burnt out on this stuff right now.
Well, and
it's not that I don't love Batman, but it's just like...
No, and I mean, full disclosure, like sorry, people of IGN, that I'm about to say this. Like... That's probably one of my, if not my least favorite thing about the position that I'm in on the social team is like, I saw this movie Thursday at 4:00 because I knew on the weekend I was going to have to do all of the oh, who's this character at the end of the
Ending
movie, and here's the ending
explained, yeah.
explained, and here's
Yeah.
the questions we have, and it's just like
Yeah.
I have to at least click the article to get like some idea of what I can dance around a little bit, to be able to write copy for it. Otherwise, like, and then like I can, even if I click on it and I see one thing, I'm just like, well, shit, like I can't get away from it.
I've tried to
happen.
I've tried to with like working on Elden Ring and stuff, which is like everybody knows how much I love Souls games. But like there's an element of like maybe I can become one of these people who doesn't care about spoilers. Like maybe I
don't want to become that person.
Yeah, well,
like I want to be able to watch a movie and like be genuinely surprised when like a shocking moment occurs. Like I want to be able to have those moments.
Fair.
Book of Boba Fett was a real big test for me because I didn't watch it for a long time.
Yeah.
And because of that, nothing surprised me at all.
Yeah.
I saw everything. I saw all of the characters that showed up during Book of Boba Fett.
Yep.
I heard about all of the moments that were either really cool or really bad. I heard everything. I knew literally everything, which then made my motivation to watch the show even lower. And this is coming from someone who has a fucking Star Wars tattoo. So, like, it was a little bit of a test of, like, do the spoilers ruin it for me? And as I was watching it, I was like, you know, all the stuff that they spoiled is, like, not even the best stuff in this. You know?
Yeah.
Like, all of the cool shit is like the stuff no one's talking about in this show. Everyone wants to focus on like this character from this thing showed up, or like, wasn't it crazy that this happened? I'm like, those are neat, those are fine, but like, what about the whole thing with the Tusken Raiders, which I would argue was the best
That's
part
the
of
best
the
part of
show.
that series.
It was so good.
Yeah, that whole second
the
episode is incredible.
It's the best part of that series that's not just previews for the Mandalorian season next.
Exactly. Yeah. Or funny aside, when my wife and I were watching the show, we realized that literally 2 of the 7 episodes either don't have Boba Fett in them or he never speaks.
Yep.
In a show called The Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Like, that's a weird little aside for another day. But
I think that's very funny.
Yeah. It's very odd, but but it's funny because when I heard about the spoilers for that, all I thought was, okay, you know, like, again, it's like, would I have been more surprised if I had seen like the things I had seen? It's like, probably. Would it have made the show better? No. Like, it was fine. But I wouldn't have been like, yo, Book of Boba Fett is great, you need to watch it. I'm like, it was fine. It had good moments. Like, some moments are meh, some moments are really cool, kind of equals out, right? So, to me, it's like, seeing stuff in trailers, it's like, yeah, it is a little bit of a bummer, but like, you're only seeing still this small piece of a larger thing. My problem with trailers, though, is that they're all the fucking same. They're edited exactly the same every time, and it drives me nuts.
Remember when Inception came out, and that was the first trailer to do that, and everyone was like, "This looks insane," and then every movie did it, and now ever since, what is it, Us? It was Us, or what's the other movie he did?
Piano or whatever.
What's the other movie Jordan Peele did? Get Out.
Get Out.
Yeah, when it's like it plays either a Plinky Piano or it's a slow version of like a hip hop or pop song.
Yeah, it's called Trailercore.
Yeah, Trailercore.
When you're strange.
It's when it's like an old song thing, but it's like played really like, what a wonderful world. But you know, people are dying on screen.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Like the sex scene from Watchmen.
Yep.
It's like,
what an amazing piece of literature that just does not translate to screen.
Yep.
But yeah,
my favorite comic book ever. So I agree with you, Brian. Just really quick, that I already forgot what I was agreeing with you on.
God damn it!
How we got on this path. But
I need somebody to agree with me.
Yeah, I agreed with you on something, but I can't remember what that thing was.
Spoilers.
I'm lost now. Whatever got us down this path.
Well, what I was originally saying was like trying to become a person for whom spoilers don't matter. Like I'm trying to.
I don't think that was it either.
Damn,
no, there was some point you said that I was like, oh, I remember. It was what I want from a trailer. I don't want you to tell me the whole. I don't want you to tell me really what it's about.
Yeah.
I just want to know a vague idea of what it's about. And then I want you to like sort of just show me like really quickly like the tone of the thing.
Yeah.
I will decide then. I'm like, oh, it says like cool actors I like in it. It's about like, even if you're just like, it's about a witch in 1845. That's all I need to know. And then if the tone looks cool, I'm like, sweet. I don't need to know about like all of the family politics or the thing. I'm like, don't tell me any of that. Just like
all I've seen about The Lighthouse is like black and white images of Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson in like fancy looking things, and Willem Dafoe looks like a crazy scraggle man, and I want to watch that movie. That's all I need.
The only exception is like something recently like Dune, which is so esoteric and fucking weird that like selling it to
the
mainstream
masses
audiences would be incredibly difficult if you didn't just make like the trailers that they made for that movie, which I actually thought were like decent, but also great movie. That is probably the most accurate you're ever going to get to that book.
I need to watch that, but
not enough internal dialogue in that movie.
Not enough internal dialogue. Yeah. Yeah, the listeners, the old movie from the 80s has like literally lines from the book, like ripped out of the book, like their internal dialogue just like whispered over like people's foreheads and shit.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's a weird. I watched that movie, and when it was over, I was like,
isn't it David Lynch?
After having just yes.
Yeah.
I read the first 4 books. The 5th book I didn't like, so I stopped reading them. But I was like maybe in the middle of book 3 when I watched the David Lynch one. And for the first like 30 minutes, I'm like, damn, this is pretty damn accurate to the first book. And the problem is it is kind of accurate, but like in a bad way. And then it just, it like, they realize halfway through, they're like, we don't have enough time to cover this 600 to 800 page novel in like 2 hours. And so they just like hit the gas and they skip so much stuff. It's wild. But the new Dune movie I highly recommend. And I warn people though. I tell them the ending is abrupt as fuck. Do not worry though, because it's only the first half of the first book. Because keep in mind, it's a 600 to 800 page book. I have it right here. It's huge. It's this thick. Look at this.
That's Dune.
This is Dune 1.
Jesus Christ. I haven't read a book that long since like the 5th Harry Potter book.
This is
13.
The audiobook for this book, or actually this book is about as long as one of the Lord of the Rings books. It's huge.
Wow.
And it's dense. It has literally like a index in it to tell you definitions of shit. Like that's how wild it is. So we're way off the track of Batman now.
Anyway,
one
more thing. Mum Jum says, or a movie that's so far out there that the trailer could never express it correctly. Example, The Night is Short, Walk On Girl. Josh, thank you for that recommendation.
Never, ever. I'm glad you watched it, Mum Jum, and I'm glad you're welcome, because I love that movie so much. I was just the other day saying I'm so glad I live in a world where that film exists. Don't watch anything for that. Don't look up. That's one of those ones where I'm like, there shouldn't even be a trailer for this shit. You should just walk in
it just starts playing.
You bought a movie ticket for the Batman. You walk in and they're like, okay, don't be mad. It's not the Batman.
It's not the
You're
Batman.
watching The Night is Short, Walk On Girl. Sit here and watch this.
I'd be like, yeah. Yeah, that's a movie where it's like just all you need to know is that it's a Japanese animated movie that is unlike any other Japanese animated movie you've probably seen. And it's just like, get ready to experience the ecstasy of existence and just for an hour and a half have a good time.
Wow.
Excuse me. I just got chills.
The ecstasy of existence.
But yeah.
But yes, everyone watch
Batman.
This is nominally a Batman spoiler cast. Even though we just went into a huge diatribe about trailers and that sort of thing.
Hey, can I ask you guys something?
Yeah.
Can I ask you guys something?
Sure.
Anytime a Batman or Star Wars movie comes out, do you guys ever get the urge to buy the Lego set that corresponds with that film?
No.
I don't buy a lot of Lego. I have some Star Wars ones down here.
I haven't bought a Lego set since Lego Dimensions was a thing, and before that, it was probably when I was like 10 years old.
Like a decade.
Yeah.
I think the last Lego set that I was tempted to buy was that Seinfeld one.
Ooh, that was a good one.
Oh, the cafe. That's a good one.
Over the last like 15 years, I've probably added a Lego set to my Amazon wish list, like per every 3 months, and then it like nobody gets it for me, and then it falls off, and then I move on. This Batmobile, man, it's on the wish list. This thing's hot. I really like the Batmobile. How
much is it?
In the Batman?
Is it?
It's $100.
That's not too bad. That's not too bad.
No, it's not.
Lego.
What's that?
The Batman. It's. I was just making myself laugh using my articles, but I was saying it's the Batman Batmobile Lego set.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, because first I was like, when I walked out of the theater, I was like, "There's no way they're putting Legos out for this. Like, it's way too dark. Like, kids, let's go see the Batman."
That does look so cool.
But like, it's a cool looking set. I'll pull up a picture.
Lego don't care.
Yeah, they gotta make their money somehow.
Set 42,127.
Yeah, it's $100 for this Batmobile.
That's not bad.
But it was, and most of the ones I usually put on there as a joke of like, oh man, like I would love to. There's the picture of it. For anybody on the stream. Yeah, I constantly will say like I'd love to have a Lego set to have on a shelf in my office because I don't. And that's like and usually I'm like the Death Star. It's like 1 billion pieces, but like this is one that I'm like,
it's
no,
huge though.
I could justifyingly purchase this.
They have a $79 set of the Riddler Face Off.
What is that?
Like in Face Off?
With Andy Serkis. Oh wait, no, maybe not. But it has like from this movie. It has the Riddler from this. Here, let me link it to you guys.
Let's see.
There you go. It was like I just scrolled down from the Batmobile, and it was like, oh, checked out.
Oh wow, look at that.
Frankenstein's monster Lego. I like him a lot.
Oh, that's cool.
He just chills on my desk. I have the Kylo ship from The Last Jedi, his like interceptor thing. And then I have what's funny is only one of these 3 Lego sets I bought myself, and it was the pod racer from episode 1.
Oh hell yeah.
Myself. So I have that down here, and then I have the Kylo ship, which was given to me.
Yeah, but
Christmas.
they're like
this was also gifted to me.
But you're fitting all of those on a shelf. Like Like I'm not talking, there was a point I wanted the Simpsons house. There was a point I wanted the Ghostbusters firehouse and the Ecto-1, but like
you need dedicated space for that.
You do. I need a basement with a large table, but I don't have that. So
you need to be like the dad from Lego Movie.
Yeah, I need to be Will Ferrell from the Lego Movie. But yeah, every time one of these movies comes out, I'm always like, man, that'd be such a hot Lego set. And sure as shit, there's always one that I'm like, yeah, I want that. And then I never buy it.
I think increasingly Legos are less for children and more for people our age.
I think
though I know kids like them, but like they're like, oh, people want adults want
kids
these Star
don't
Wars
have
ones.
money.
Yeah, the adults who grew up like with an NES want this NES kit.
Yeah,
I think increasingly they know that adults are buying Legos.
Yeah,
if they were for kids, they never would have put out that Seinfeld set.
Oh yeah, or the Friends one, or the what's the Betty White one? Golden Girls.
This is just Betty White.
Yeah, the Golden Girls set.
Build Betty White's
head or whatever.
Build a life-size Lego Betty White.
A life-size Lego bust of Betty White.
That would be cool. Somebody's probably done.
Someone's definitely done that.
Yeah. No, I think you're right about that. I think there are still Lego kits for kids, and then they're like increasingly like probably like our audience grew up and they still fucking love Lego.
Yeah.
But what do they want to build? Like, oh, they want to build like the Death Star, or they want to build the Disney Castle, or
they want to build Ava Unit 1.
Ava Unit 1. Do they have that? Oh my god. Dude.
I don't know, but that would be pretty good. Hey, clearly I was right.
Josh was like, "Stop the fucking podcast."
Stop the presses. I'm buying the shit right now. I have my Ava 1. It's over there. I'm not kidding. I have a Gunpla of Ava Unit 1. I wanted to get 0 and 2, but I haven't done it yet.
Man, Lego, get at me if you want to give me a job offer, because I just made the sale and the thing doesn't even exist.
Somebody has to have
someone built
that,
one.
right?
It's 4 feet tall and weighs 20 pounds.
Yeah, I bet.
There's some people who've made them like custom ones. Yeah, like out of.
And that's the great thing about Lego. But to talk about the Batman movie.
Look what I've done.
I'm gonna tell you right now, the last half hour shouldn't have existed.
Yeah,
gonna say that.
That's very true. It's very true.
Didn't need to exist.
Nope. No, it definitely didn't. You could, like Josh's thoughts on the Batman, you could probably cut a healthy half hour out of this podcast conservatively, and the pacing would be better.
Probably.
So you were bummed out that the penguin chase was spoiled for you. That's a really short chase, but I thought it was good. I thought it was really good.
Well, I think that is this movie's trailer sequence from The Dark Knight, like when he's on the bike, and he interweaves all the lines into the telephone pole or the light poles and everything.
Was that in the Dark Knight trailer?
No, I'm just saying in the film in general.
Oh,
like,
just
that was a moment. That was a moment in that movie when I saw it. I was like, "Oh my god! Like this is so cool!" And like when I was watching the Batman, I thought the same thing, but it kind of got ruined because when
he drives the motorcycle up the wall and flips around and comes back down. Oh,
yeah,
super sick. But was there anything else in the trailers that got spoiled for you that you wouldn't have wanted to see?
There was actually a scene, and I knew it was coming, so I went to the bathroom where it's when he's escaping the police department after they bring him in and they're like, take his mask off, and he wakes up and he's like, shit. When he jumps off the building and like the cops are shooting at him, I knew that scene was about to happen. I was like, sweet, I can take a piss.
Nice.
So I actually left at that part
because of the trailer.
Yeah,
I left right before when he and Catwoman are on the roof. Like I could tell just from the lighting and the way it was paced and stuff. I was like, they're about to talk for a while. So I got up and went to the bathroom. I came back and they were just like making out. I'm like, okay, I probably missed nothing. I think when I came back, my wife was just like, she's Falcone's daughter. That's all you missed. I went, all right, cool.
Which, by the way, cool twist.
Yeah.
I thought that was good. Also, we haven't even talked about Carmine Falcone. John Turturro being in this movie made me very happy.
Yo, when he showed up, that was the first thing I thought. I was like, Brian fucking loves this guy. You've talked about him in other things that we've seen.
I know I've seen him in things, but what else is he in?
He's in everything.
He's in everything. He's in the Transformers. He's like the secret.
Oh, that's right.
He's in the secret thing. Hold up. Let me look up John Turturro's.
He's in The Big Lebowski. Oh brother, where art thou?
God, he's the Jesus.
Yep.
Yeah. He's great in
Mr.
Oh my
Deeds.
God, you're right. He is. That's so funny.
Rounders.
Yeah, he's in Oh brother, where art thou? He's great in that. Everything I've seen him in, he's awesome.
Yeah.
And this is no exception. He's fantastic. He's fantastic. He's one of those actors that's he's in everything. He doesn't really get a lot of opportunities to really shine, and I feel like this is one of those opportunities. But I feel like he generally, in whatever movie he's in, he steals whatever scenes he's in.
You always remember him in.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's so good. And so having him show up in this and be a central character, I was so excited. I was so happy. And he crushed it. And the relationship between him and Bruce, I thought was really good. I really felt like
that was a cool
lot of stuff.
dynamic between the two of them. Like just
Yeah.
the whole like, oh, I remember you when you were a kid, and I came in, I got shot in the chest, and your dad operated on me on the table. Like that whole.
Yeah.
He had a very like. He kind of let his guard down with Bruce a little bit.
Yeah.
Which
I loved. I really loved.
Yeah, for somebody of that caliber, like you're not normally going to see.
It also, for the character, it's like a good way to show that he doesn't have his guard up around him because he doesn't fear any kind of retribution from him at all.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a good like character moment to show that he like walks in the light and not afraid of anything because he's so powerful, even though he probably should be, right?
Yeah.
So,
which is interesting because you can really draw contrasting lines between this and Batman Begins because of that. Because when Bruce meets Falcone in Batman Begins, it's extremely antagonistic. And they're aware of each other immediately, and he's like totally dismissive. But also, it feels like that version of Falcone still has people that he doesn't intimidate, whereas in this one, he definitely is sitting on top. Whereas like anytime in Batman Begins, when Falcone talks to Crane or anything like that, like it's clear like he's in over his head. Whereas that never is the case in this, which I really like.
Yeah.
I like the idea of like, yo, this is a mob boss and the entire city is mobbed up in like in a way that felt more significant, I guess, than in Batman Begins, because that's like basically the plot of Batman Begins is like, yo, the mob runs everything.
Yeah, but you don't see it that much in Batman Begins, and not only that, like,
yeah,
and Nolan's trilogy tries to do this whole thing about like what, like, if you try to get real highbrow about it, it's like, what is the Gotham character? Like, if Gotham City is a character, what character are they in each film? Because it's different each time. This one, it's like it feels like much more of a presence, like Gotham City as something that Batman has to take on. And the intricacies of like, you literally can't trust anyone at this point other than Alfred and maybe Selina, because she like she's lost something, and she
that other lady who was on the phone in that one scene. He's already gone.
Yeah. But she also like has nothing to lose by selling him out. So it's like you can't fully trust her, but that's Catwoman.
That's just Catwoman.
Yeah.
Which is good. That's why she's a good character.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like that. And I feel like because of that, this movie kind of gets to have its cake and eat it too. In the way that the Nolan films would be if you combined the first two movies, basically.
Yeah.
And then and I know that we're not gonna, continue to litigate this, but one of the things that I really like about The Dark Knight Rises is the way that you feel the desperation of all the people trapped in that city.
Yeah.
And that feels very real. Like you see like the looting, the rioting, dragging the rich people out, killing them. Like you see the desperation and the really bad situation that so many people are in. And I feel like that also happens in the Batman, but it kind of, I feel like they Matt Reeves kind of hit it more on the head.
Cast them out into the cold.
Yeah. Choose your punishment, execution or exile. I'll take execution. Execution by exile.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like they really, especially in the last act of the film, when it becomes clear that Batman's been outplayed by the Riddler, and that there's way more going on than just killing a couple of corrupt people. I really like how desperate the situation becomes.
It does make me question how much time is going to pass? Yeah, how much time passes between now and the next one? Because like the city is kind of destroyed, or at least like there's like a lot of work. There's a lot of floors that got to get ripped up. You know, there's a
Yeah,
lot of dehumidifiers that got to be running
that
for a little while. Like,
that was a whole thing. I'm like, this kind of didn't need to be here.
yeah.
You know, like the whole, I really thought the movie was about to end, and then they're like, oh, but one more thing, and then it was like truck bombs. I'm like, oh
You
Jesus,
know,
like there's still more.
they could have just done the snipers at a public event thing and been fine.
And not
Yeah.
flood the city.
They could have, yeah, they could have just taken the flooding out and just had, hey, we're gonna have a bunch of, because he has like 500 followers, so they could have just been like, we're gonna have this number of people circle up and just shoot them like sitting ducks in this thing.
I think the only reason they didn't, or one of the reasons they probably didn't, is because it's part of it's probably in poor taste. I mean, like, granted, like a lot of like the fucked up things in this movie, like,
you mean like January 6th type stuff?
Yeah, like that's what I like. I think if
there's a lot of that in here.
If you just had that, I think it would have been like, ooh. I mean, it still is, but there's like.
You think so? I think it would have been fine.
There's other things to distract you. I think
maybe I have a higher threshold for that though.
No, but I think the other side of it is, it doesn't give Batman enough to do. Like, Batman taking out 6 or 7 snipers, so. Like that's nothing for him. There shouldn't be, it shouldn't be a big deal to him. Him doing it while the city is blowing up and arena's being flooded and the mayor just got shot. Like, there's a lot happening in those moments.
I guess I will offer a counterpoint, which is the police parade memorial for Gordon in The Dark Knight. There was only one sniper there, and they made that tense as hell. And it was
you would have to change it.
They couldn't all be in the same place, but you could have some people on different buildings and then have it be like, I can't, there's like 7 buildings with snipers, I can't get to all of them. You know? Something like that.
But then it's also like they already made that movie too. Like,
kind of.
Yeah. Like, we have that. We already have it, George.
Yeah.
And there isn't really, I mean, I guess The Dark Knight Rises also has like a minor subplot about flooding. Or something like that, but but
you're right. I didn't even think about that.
I mean, it just came to me in this moment. So, but yeah, I do think, and I do like you'd mentioned that that Catwoman had suffered and stuff like that, and I do think that is a point that Bruce makes late in the movie that I really did like, when he's like trying to stop her from killing Falcone. But yeah, I like that. I really like how he actually, man, we got to talk about the scene where he goes to meet the Riddler at Arkham Asylum, because that is like maybe my favorite scene in the entire movie.
Yeah, I would probably agree.
So good. First of all, because it lets Paul Dano really showcase what he can do acting wise.
Other than screaming into a phone. Yeah.
Other than screaming into a phone. But like how like subtly emotive his face is, and how he slowly realizes that like, oh, like the man, it was so good when you like realize that the reason the Riddler was leaving those notes to the Batman was because he feels like they're on the same team.
Yeah.
And like that was so good, because he's running around beating people up, calling himself Vengeance, which is what and like taking out corrupt people, which is what the Riddler is doing too. Like, and so the idea of like, and when you get that idea of like, I always knew, like I've got the brains, but like I can't make this stuff happen. Like I needed you. And when Batman realizes that he's basically been an accessory to murder in a couple of cases, like, is like so interesting to me. And like it's a trope, particularly in like JRPGs, of like the villain is just following, or like even in like adventure movies, like this happens in Indiana Jones and a bunch of stuff, of like the villain is just kind of following behind the hero because they know the hero is more capable and will basically pave their way to whatever their goal is. That when you can do it right and you don't see it coming, I always love that stuff. And I feel like this is a great way that they did that, where it was just like, Falcone was in his tower, I couldn't get him out, but you did it for me. It's great, And like I feel like they played that off like masterfully.
I think they did that really well, and they did the moment where Batman starts to like turn everything Riddler's saying on his head, and he's like, no, like, you're wrong for XYZ reason of like, you think that you've won because of this, but really, this has happened. The way that Paul Dano reacts to that, where he's like, no, it was not supposed to go this way. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such like it was such a reaction in like a way that I haven't seen somebody like respond to something since I was like a kid. And
he's like very, very initially he's like, no, like you can see like, wait a second.
It starts to fall apart. Like
you're supposed to be on my side. Why aren't you on my side?
Yeah.
And then like as it goes further and further, and like Batman kind of starts to antagonize him in a way that you don't do with people who are insane.
Yeah.
He's just like, no, and he's just screaming and like stepping around, and he's just like, like, and you can see he's really sad.
Yeah.
Like because he felt like he had this counterpart, and like he did not at all. But yeah. What were you saying?
No, it's the type of reaction that I haven't seen since like either being around a little kid that doesn't get what they want, or having been a little kid that didn't get what I want at some point. It's funny to watch like a grown man do that and to do it so well in a role where like the guy is just so unhinged.
You'd be surprised how many grown men can do that.
Shit.
Yeah, I mean, good point. And to that effect, Mum Jump in the chat says Superfan becomes toxic. Such a great scene.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
The people that you see, whether it be on a TV show or in a movie or something like that, like you're just like, oh man, I love them. And then like you see how they are in real life, and you're like, no, this isn't how it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
This isn't what I wanted.
Yeah.
This is not how Kramer is supposed to act.
Yeah, like what I thought of was, oh, this isn't how Robert Pattinson is supposed to be on a date. I'm a huge fan of his, and now he's said that he'll go out with me, and now we're at this restaurant, and I don't like him. Which is a story, if you don't know, a story that actually happened. Robert Pattinson had a stalker for a while. He actually confronted them and was like, hey, do you want to go out on a date? And they went out on a date, and she like didn't like him at all.
Well, yeah, because she had a vision of him in her head that wasn't the real person, right?
Based on Twilight, and then you look at Robert Pattinson in real life, and you're like, this dude is a fucking weirdo.
Yeah. Mom Jump brings up a good tidbit that I actually wanted to bring up and totally forgot, so thank you. He said, is the Riddler the only one that calls him Batman? The police call him Mass Vigilante, and he refers to himself as Vengeance.
I think there's a time when
Catwoman calls him Bat, like the Bat and the Cat has a good ring to it or whatever.
Yeah, and I think there's a time when Bruce says this might be the end of the Batman or something like that to Alfred. But I was very aware of how Bruce was responding or was addressing himself. And he did call himself Vengeance or things like that more often.
I think Gordon calls him Batman like once. But that might
like it is a very interesting thing. I'd love to find out who actually says that, and if there's some sort of a connection to the people that use that title.
Yeah.
But I do think that there is a very that is definitely a theme of the movie, is like, how do you define yourself and how do other people see you, both on the Riddler's end and on Batman's end.
It would be interesting to see if now that he, like, the whole movie at the end of it, he refers to himself as Hope, or he sees himself as like a hopeful figure, and he wants the people of Gotham to see himself that way rather than, this symbol of vengeance.
Which is I mean, they really like draw a circle around that when they take the mask off of the guy that he's almost beaten to death.
Yeah.
Which after they use the adrenaline to get back up, which Audrey, being a nurse, was like really into that idea of like, oh, he's keeping adrenaline on him because like and then he just goes nuts, which was great. Like I really liked that. But when they pull the Riddler mask off of like the freaking Riddler number 73 or whatever, and he's like, who the heck are you? And he's like, I'm Vengeance. And like, he's like, oh, this is the thing, and like it's that classic theme, which has been explored a lot. But like the fact that these villains have stepped up because of Batman. Like,
well, and
this is the adversaries rising to meet him.
That's what I was gonna say. Was now that I think Paul Dano kind of looked to him the Riddler looked to him as a symbol of hope, in that like this is the guy that is going to clean up the city. I'm gonna do it too. So he refers to him as the Batman. Is there some kind of connection there where it's like, anybody that looks to him as a hopeful symbol then calls him the Batman? Like if it is just Gordon and the Riddler,
that would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
Because he definitely, and like there is a functional similarity with how the Riddler is what the Riddler is doing and what Batman is doing. I think that they just Batman has a line and the Riddler doesn't.
Yeah.
So I think that's basically the difference.
Mumjum says adrenaline or Bane juice, also known as Venom.
Some of my friends were like, "Oh, I thought it was Venom."
Yeah.
Because it's kind of green. I was like, I just thought it was adrenaline.
That would be a really interesting thing of like, oh, this is just something that people have been using. This is something that exists. And then somebody's like, yo, I'm going to go ham on this shit.
I'm going to use all kinds of...
Well, no, the implication for them being that like Bane already exists in this world. But that I didn't buy, because I'm like, there doesn't seem to be like if the drug, was like on the streets was like Venom or something, then it'd be like, okay, well, Bane clearly exists, right? But the drug that they're thinking was just like Molly or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's just like
a
party drug, basically. It's like, yeah, I don't know,
droppers or whatever.
Yeah. I just thought it was adrenaline. Like, I didn't think it was anything special.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah. Although that would be cool if it ended up, if that was just like a little Easter egg.
It'd be another thing for Josh to hate, to catch in the next movie. Remember when he stabbed himself in the leg?
That was important.
Counterpoint. I feel like that's when things are done the best.
No, I agree.
When you could end this movie and none of that stuff ever happens, but like you could think, was that Venom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that's just an interesting idea. And then if you do, like, you plant a lot of those seeds, but you do it surreptitiously, so that if you never come back to it, it isn't weird that you didn't come back to it. And if you did, you've got a lot of stuff to pull from.
Yeah.
Like that's how I feel like people need to be constructing these things to act as standalones as much as they can.
That's what I like a lot about like some of my favorite comics are ones that you're like, you don't need to have ever read a Batman comic or a Superman comic ever. It's like, I know that Batman's parents are dead. I know he's rich. I know who the Joker is. Bam. You just put the story in front of them. Some of my favorite ones. I'm like, I don't need you to have all... some people are into the lore. They continue to go through it, and I used to be one of those people, but I just can't keep up anymore. But I like those stories where it's like, I could hop in anytime and I know exactly what's going on. So I'm with you. Like, that was partially what I really liked about like Penguin being in the movie, is I didn't know he was in the movie at all. So then when he showed up, I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. Like, he's just here, like he's a part of the world. And now we're going to leave and he's not that important, because ultimately he's not that important.
I don't think
he's more important in the wake, because he basically ends up being a bigger player in the mob scene than he was at the beginning. But like, that's not a huge...
Sure.
There's
right now, there's no
difference.
There's no implications for that right now. And the way the city is, it's like, all right.
Who cares? Everything's fucked.
Everything's fucked, and and they even say there's going to be this huge grab for power. So like, whatever. That's a thing that I feel like not enough Bat movies do well, is that they don't just have characters that, and I think we kind of said this already, but like, they don't have characters that exist in the world, because the world, like, it is a fleshed out world. Granted, this is year 2 of Batman, but like, for it's kind of weird for it being a movie where it's only his second year as Batman. They do a great job of that. Of like, Penguin is this established figure. Falcone is an established figure. Joker's already in Arkham.
You also don't need to know who these people are.
Right.
Yeah.
like hopping in. Like if you
and
do
even,
know, it's neat. But if you have no idea, if you've never seen a Batman, read Batman, no, and nothing about Batman, you can watch this movie and be completely fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think another thing is like a lot of these characters, because they're so much a part of this world, they have other functions than being Batman villains. And I think that's just that's more of a function of the way that Batman and his world is set up than it is anything else. Like you don't really have a Brainiac without being a Superman antagonist. You know what I mean? Like his function is basically to antagonize Superman. The same for like Mixius Pitalik and stuff like that. But like with Batman, the Penguin does mob stuff that has nothing to do with Batman except that he's trying to stop them. He also like is a gun runner in a bunch of like different things. So like you could theoretically just have a movie that was about the Joker, but like at some point somebody goes and gets like some illegal high-powered weapons from the Penguin. And that would be like, yo, we just went to this arms dealer and that's how he showed up. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I like that. And I feel like they basically had that. Like he could have been just all the stuff that the Penguin did could have been done by Falcone if they wanted to, but they didn't. And I feel like that, you know, you talked about like being able to have people kind of be part of the, not part of the furniture, but like part of the world and just being people that exist in this space and feel really natural instead of being like the focal point like the Riddler was, is like,
or the setup for something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, no, this is a person that is in this world, and that's fine. It's fine that they don't need their own show or movie, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they were saying originally, like, because I knew that the Penguin was in this movie, but they were like, yeah, the Riddler's gonna be in it, the Penguin's gonna be in it. I can't remember if they said the Joker was gonna be in it, but they said Catwoman was also gonna be in it. I'm like, you can't do this. Like, this is the problem with Spider-Man 3. Is like,
yeah, but you know what? That ship has sailed. Like that's not a problem anymore. Between No Way Home and every fucking Marvel movie that's come out, like we need to stop making that comparison. It's just not a thing anymore.
It's true, but you could still make those faults. Like you could still have those problems.
You can, but I feel like it's less likely that it's going to happen anymore.
It's definitely not a one-to-one, like as far as like how many times it's been screwed up versus how many times they actually got it.
I think it's very tricky balancing act to pull off. I just think people are better about it. Like back then, it was like just throw the characters.
Yeah, I think
now it's a little more balanced, but like it is still difficult.
Yeah, I think they know how to write it now. It's like Spider-Man 3 was like the first time where they really like went for it, and we were like, "What the fuck?" Like, I feel like they're starting to figure out the secret sauce.
Yeah, and I think that making Carmine Falcone and the Penguin like supporting villains, Riddler being like the main thing, like Riddler being the A plot, Carmine Falcone being the B plot, and then having Catwoman be introduced but kind of as a supporting role to Batman instead of like how we normally see her, which is like initially antagonistic and then kind of reluctantly joins up. Like she's definitely less a villain in this than she's been in other stuff.
Yeah.
Like we see her robbing stuff, but it's like kind of inconsequential. Like it's kind of just
inconsequential to the major story.
Yeah.
I mean, other than her trying to rob. Well, she's trying to get the passport, but
yeah. But anyway, yeah, I thought it was good. I don't think I have a whole lot else to say other than like
I don't have much to say.
I hope that they do another one because as good as this one is, if we can get like, I mean, Batman Begins was great when it came out, but then I think everybody agrees at least one of the movies that followed it were better. I don't know many people who still think that Batman Begins is the best of that series of movies.
No.
So I hope that Matt Reeves does another one, if only to see if he can improve on what they did with this one, because there is room for improvement.
Yeah,
I'd just be curious what they would do next.
I'd love them to do another one. I don't want the next one to be a Joker movie. If they do a Joker movie, I'd love it to be a take on Death of the Family. And it's
almost because we expect the Joker at this point, right?
Yeah. But let him be like, I'd almost like him to be more of a, like partake as a man behind the curtain, right? Like he doesn't have to be like the grand mastermind of everything, but like he can be an influencer to like someone else who like is probably, you know, going to cause a ruckus or whatever.
My wish would be if they did a trilogy of this, that they end it with Joker and do like a Killing Joke thing where like Killing Joke in theory could be the last Batman comic ever.
Yeah.
Like, which is honestly, that's my problematic parts of that book aside, it's probably my favorite Batman book.
It does not translate well to screen if you've ever seen that.
That animated one though is different.
It is different. Yeah, it is different.
I would like to see them do something like that where it's like if you really like commit and end this sort of world in a way with a trilogy and don't keep going, I feel like that's your way to do it right there.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I'm not gonna spoil the twist of it. Before I had seen this movie, I was thinking that I would love a follow-up to be I would love them to do like Hush in a follow-up, but I don't know how that would work with how they've set up Pattinson's Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
I don't think it would work.
And there's
a real shame because I think in this gritty and this grounded a world, I think Hush could be really good.
There are a lot of nods to Hush. Like, I think it's more of like a tongue-in-cheek type of thing, but like when they have all the newspaper articles, and they talk about Martha Wayne, like the headline is like Hush, like it, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's all it's meant to be though. Hush is another character though that like I don't know that I need a movie of that. I don't know that would work well.
Just looking at how they handled this version of the Riddler, I think Hush could be like a really cool like thriller.
It could be a cool thriller. I mean? In a weird way, I'd love to see Clayface. In a really weird way, just have somebody like almost like
I'm always up for Clayface, but nobody wants to do him.
But like almost like a James McAvoy, like somebody just acting their ass off, being all these different people. You could make it like a really weird like thriller that way. He's really one of the only like major villains. Be
grounded anymore though.
Yeah. It wouldn't, but it's one of the only major villains that we have that I feel like we haven't seen on the screen at this point. Mom Jum asked that question.
I just think because in a world like this, it's too like
it's too fantastical.
It's too like Marvel Cinematic Universe for this like Batman world that they have
I feel like it has to. Even I think Mr. Freeze is even a stretch for that.
Mr. Freeze is a bit of a stretch, yeah.
Let's see.
Which is tough.
Two-Face has been done well. Mr. Freeze has been done, but not well.
Nice to see you.
Let's see. Red Hood, but you can't do Red Hood this early.
They'll do Red Hood.
You can't do Red Hood without Robin. So you would need to, and you can't do Robin and Red Hood in the same movie.
Here's a novel idea. What if they just did something else?
What if they made a new
villain?
Anything else? Just made something good instead of like leaning on things we know, right? Like just, but then it's I get like but we'll feel like Batman, right? I get that, but like I'm like, man, just swing for the fences at this point.
Professor Pig.
Do something weird
Professor
like I
Pig
haven't seen before.
Really good.
Yeah.
In this Gotham, Professor Pig, or I think Deathstroke could be good. Like basically, I mean, I always like.
There's no reason for Deathstroke though. Like I feel like you lean into Deathstroke and you start getting into more, like
more DC Universe.
Yeah, I don't want that. I don't want that at all.
To me, I was just thinking about like, this is just. I mean, you could even have it as like. This is somebody that was hired by the Penguin or something.
Yeah.
Like he could even be, just somebody comes in from out of town. A bunch of people start showing up dead and he's trying to, I guess that's kind of the similar thing of what's going on here. Professor Pig would be interesting.
I just want something radically different.
Like, unfortunately, there's so much like Batman content and like the stuff that isn't used regularly There's a reason it's not used regularly.
Yeah. Condiment King.
Oh no!
Calendar
Fucking
Man.
do the Court of Owls.
I would.
Right?
I was thinking about that.
Yeah,
I would love that, but I don't know how you do Court of Owls after you did this thing.
After you flood the city.
Well, there's that. Yeah. But then also, I don't know how you do. Unless they changed what they did with Court of Owls, I don't know how you do Court of Owls after.
You do a story about like this giant organization that's corrupt and.
I mean, no. I was gonna say, how do you do this movie with his good relationship with Alfred that then gets strained, that then gets reconciled, and then do Court of Owls after this?
Yeah, that's fair.
It's like you kind of played
you already played that card
version of that card.
Yeah.
In this movie.
Yeah.
And it didn't really feel earned. So you really can't double down on it.
It's that, or you do it and then he kills Alfred because he's so pissed.
Maybe. Or it's not Alfred.
Yeah.
It's somebody else.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be cool. But that's I think we've pretty much got it.
Yeah. We've been going long.
We have been going a long time. But yeah, let's go ahead and sign off. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and people of all kinds, for joining us for episode 223 of the Platformers. I'm about to go have myself a fish taco, you guys.
Ooh.
That sounds personal.
Since the pandemic, it's very. I'm about to make it very personal. But we order our groceries for pickup, and then I just go and like I text the grocery store, and then they take it out and put it in my trunk, and then I come home. But they sometimes will not have what you ordered online, and so they'll give you like a replacement or something. So they told Audrey that, oh yeah, we didn't have your salmon, and so she left, went in, bought salmon, came back out, and then got home and opened the trunk, and they had given us salmon, and so now we had double the salmon. So it's just fish tacos, teriyaki fish sauce, lemon pepper fish, like it's just fish for days. And I'm a very happy boy because let me tell you, I got this thing. I got a nice homemade tortilla. Then you put a little bit of Greek yogurt on it. You sprinkle some jalapenos on there, and you put this oven grilled fish salmon on there. Super good, you guys. You should try it.
Sounds good. Now I have to go figure out what I'm eating.
There you go.
Yeah. But anyways, this has been episode 223 of the Platformers. Thank you so much for joining us. If you like the show, you can follow us on Twitter, us as a group, a podcast grouping, as you might call us, can be found at Platformers Pod on everything, I think. So you can find us on Twitter at Platformers Pod. We stream the show every week on Monday nights at twitch.tv/platformerspod, and archived episodes are on youtube.com/platformerspod. If you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Ribnax, Ribnax. I'm way more active on Twitter nowadays, so come hang out with me. I try to respond to everybody who tweets at me, because why not? Why not?
Why not?
Josh, where can they find you?
You can find me at the Jawa Josh on Twitter. I don't tweet that much, but if you want to see the cool video essay stuff I'm working on, you can go to youtube.com/mediaismythic. The Spiritfarer video is up. Feedback has been good. I was a little afraid because some of the people I sent the early cut to said that they couldn't watch it because it gave them anxiety in the first 90 seconds, and I was like, oh Christ. But I put it out anyway. It seems like people really like it, so I'm very happy with that.
It brought me to tears, the end of it, which was not his intent, but it was a very
very nice compliment. But I was like, oh no,
it was put together it was put together very beautifully, and the music that you used and like the way you had written
the soundtrack of the game.
No, I know, but it was just very well done.
Okay.
I'm
glad you liked it.
Yeah, thank you for making it. You can find me at Shrives93. I'm just living life, man. I don't have anything going on.
Heck yeah, bro.
Yeah, just hey, if you've ever had acid reflux or GERD, and you know GERD, which is basically severe acid reflux, and you have any recipes you want to throw my way, feel free to do so. I accept any and all recommendations.
Wow.
Yep.
That stinks.
Bland diets are real fun, especially when you have a trip to New Orleans coming up.
Oh, you do?
I do. I'm going to New Orleans in 2 weeks.
That's fast.
I'm going to the location that they are filming the new Dracula movie with Nicolas Cage. And I am
I cannot wait.
I am really hoping that I bump into him somehow, or he just shows up at this person's wedding that we're going to, because we think that there's a really good possibility. They were supposed to have it in the library area, this whole wedding, and they had to move it because they're filming the movie there. So they moved us to the next room.
Dude, I cannot tell you how excited for that movie I am, but I need it to. The worst thing that movie can be is just okay. I need it to either be incredible or like a train wreck.
Yeah.
I need it to be either of those things.
Legitimately great movie or a good bad movie.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I'm like, Nicolas Cage was born to play Dracula. I cannot wait.
I can't believe that I haven't heard of this.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's called Renfield. It's like, if you've ever read Dracula, it's the like not the opening scene, but it happens like before the book. But in the original 1930 film, it is what happens in the beginning of the movie. But it's when Renfield goes to see Dracula to sign the deal and all that, and goes insane, wants to become a vampire, and then he goes back to London, and they lock him in an asylum, and he's like, "The master's coming." Yeah.
Okay.
It's
and Nicolas Cage is Dracula, or
Nicolas Cage is Dracula.
Yep.
Okay, and who? I mean, he's got the hairline for it now.
I can't wait, dude.
But so who's Renfield?
I don't remember, honestly.
Honestly,
it's not important.
It's not important because
what's important is that Nicolas Cage was born to play Dracula, and I can't wait to see it. And he's either going to be like really good, and we're all going to be surprised, or it's going to be really bad, and it's going to be a great time.
You could literally just loop lines and images from when he was playing the Catholic priest in Face Off and tell me he was Dracula, and I'd believe you.
Nicholas Hoult is playing Renfield. Aquafina is playing Rebecca Quincy, and Ben Schwartz is in it.
Oh,
wow.
Okay.
And so is Shorey. Oh god, I can never say her last name. Shorey Agdashlu. She plays she's in Destiny, and she's in what's the show we like? The League of Legends show.
Arcane.
She's in Arcane. She's the head like soldier woman with the dark hair, who's short dark hair.
So many words that
kind
I
of
don't
heavy
understand.
set. She kind of sounds like this when she talks.
Cool with the lady with the coolest voice.
I am going to teach you how to fire a rifle. Yeah, I don't know how to do her voice, but yeah, it's that lady. She's in it.
I love her, man.
Yeah, she's great.
She's the best.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Anyway, yeah.
This has been a podcast.
If you like the show, review us on your podcast platform of choice, and tell friends about it. From everybody here at the platformers, we hope you have a wonderful week. And stay safe out there, because until next time, we are out.
Bye.
Bye.